Welcome back, Halo followers. Today, my god, am I gonna have to eat my own words. The Halo TV show has come out, the first episode on Paramount Plus, and I just watched it, and I got quite a lot of positive things to say. Way more than I thought I was going to say. At the very end of the video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about spoilers, which I will give you a very clear verbal and visual warning before I talk about it. But I want to talk about the TV show itself and, just in general. This is easily the highest budget show that we've ever seen out. Maybe some of the commercials and trailers in the past were similar on its level, but you can really feel the production value in this show. It feels very authentic for the most part. And it wasn't nearly as bad or cringy or as a disappointment as I thought it was going to be. Yes, my expectations going in it were very low, and this may be helping me kind of be excited about it, but it actually not only exceeded my expectations, it exceeded them quite a lot. I was overall wrong about the TV show. Yeah, there were a few things that I did not appreciate or like about the show. However, I will say I've just seen episode 1, and what I can gather is that this is just like they said. It's like an adaptation from Marvel Comics to the MCU, right? It's not Halo, but it doesn't put Halo down. It doesn't insult Halo. It doesn't ruin Halo. It complements it. It's not Halo per se, but there are many elements in it that have made me just very eager, very excited to see more. Everything was very clean. It was shot sharp. The Prophets, I gotta say, let me talk about the Covenant real quick. The Prophets are creepy, all right? So we saw one of the Prophets in episode 1, and they're speaking in, the Covenant language. And by golly, is it unsettling. These are emotions that I have never felt about Halo before. That's why I am actually incredibly impressed with this show. Let me talk about the elites. The elites are scarier than anything I've ever seen. Despite Halo being, T-rated, Halo Infinite is T-rated, this show, there is some disturbing things in it. People are kind of blowing up, right? I won't say much more on that. Just viewer discretion when you go into this. There are some very unsettling moments. There is blowing up of things, if you catch my drift. This is a light that I've never seen the Covenant in. Seeing innocent, unarmed people run away from these aliens that have these very powerful plasma weapons. It is very unsettling to watch, and it shows the very unsettling nature of the Covenant and the invasion upon humanity. It did not try to blow up the story too much. It was pretty easy to understand going along. And of course, they changed some things, quite a bit of things. I think this story takes place in, I don't know, it's before Reach fell. So we do know that. This is a show that I think does have a future, and the acting is far better. The trailer kind of led us to believe that this story was going to be a certain way, but after watching it, I'm actually a pretty big fan of it. With that being said, I have a disclaimer. I do tend to gravitate towards shows that usually most people do not like. If you like this show, then awesome. If you don't, I totally get it. One thing I will say is I really appreciated about this is that it didn't really waste time trying to, I guess, set things up and try to play on nostalgia. It did a little bit, but it did it in a way that was really well done and at well-deserved moments. It shows the true dark side of the UNSC as well. They're immediately kind of propped up as this, villain, right? That they're doing things just like Oni for the greater good of humanity, and yet it really doesn't even feel that way. There's a lot going on, but it's understandable. And wow, is Master Chief really developed well. So yeah, he isn't like the Chief that we know from the lore. He's not a Chief that I think Halo fans would accept in the games. He has enough flexibility in his character where he will say things and do things that maybe Chief wouldn't do in the games. It's obvious that this is a different Master Chief in the canon. Obviously, this is not lore. This is, quote, the Silver Timeline. So yeah, we got to keep that in mind. But I want to talk about Quan. This is a young woman that is with Master Chief that basically becomes his sidekick, and the conversation that they have and how they interact in this show so far is really bizarre. It's bizarre, but in a very intriguing way. I guess it feels like they got the best experimental parts of Halo 4 and 5 and really just mashed those things up, learned the lessons from those games, which is actually kind of funny to say that because they did not play the games or read about the games or talk about the games when making this show. But yeah, it seems like they took some of the best parts of Halo 4 and 5 and I guess even Halo 3 and put that into this show. So now I want to talk about spoilers. So spoiler warning right there. So Chief saves Quan. He starts having visions after he touches the foreigner artifact of his childhood and starts remembering his parents. This is something that I've always thought was like an emotional element that was not touched upon in Halo ever and could have been, because it could be a great plot line for Chief, finding out who his parents are, how he relates to them, and how he relates to his childhood and what was taken from him in the lies that he's been told by the UNSC. The UNSC is kind of propped up as this, they're kind of seemed bad. We see, I think it would be Sergeant Johnson that was lying to Miranda Keyes and about Quan dying, but in actuality, Chief is ordered to kill her, and he goes against that, rips the video feed out, and goes directly against orders. This is a really cool moment because it hits harder than Halo 5 story did by far, and I know that's maybe a low bar to set, but Chief going rogue here feels believable. Not only does he have a motive, but he also is starting to think about his connection to his parents and his past, and is the UNSC actually telling the truth? There was actually near the ending that the Silver team started suiting up to, I thought for a moment, to hunt down Chief, and then Dr. Halsey basically says that you will side with them, and they're like, of course, we're going to side with Chief. So yeah, there's that. I honestly thought it would have been really cool to see Silver Team actually hunt down Chief, and that might still happen. I don't know. Maybe I just I only watched it once through, so I may have mistaken a few things. So I want to talk about the future of this show. The show has a season 2 confirmed. Obviously, it's been getting bad ratings by critics, as well as myself. I've been saying bad things about it before I watched it, and here I am. I've watched it, and I will say, to summarize it, it is not exactly Halo, but it doesn't insult or bring Halo down. It complements it, and it brings about a different side of the universe, a different look at it than I think we've seen before. Yes, of course, it's a little bit campy, a little bit cheesy at times, but my gosh, I love the Dr. Halsey actress. I love Master Chief, actually. Pablo Schreiber, I think is how you say his name. And I love Quan. These are characters I thought were going to be pretty bad, but honestly, they're not. I think they're really well done, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And yeah, so you guys let me know what your thoughts are about this. If you don't like this show, you don't have to agree with me. I might be I might be one of the few that actually likes this show so far. We've only seen one episode, so I'm not saying that this whole show is great. I'm just saying that episode 1 kind of took me off guard. I mean, there were moments that I was feeling a lot of things. I was getting excited and hyped, and I was enjoying the show quite a bit, actually. And even just as a Halo fan, maybe there's a part of bias in me because I just get to see these characters come to life and feel more real than they ever have before, and feel like, oh my god, the Covenant are monsters. Like, you get this terror in you, and I think they're going to be doing something with the Arbiter too as well. I think that's what we saw with the Elite and witnessing Chief activating the artifact. I do want to touch upon the Prophet one more time and the woman that has joined the Covenant. That was an interesting scene. My god, are the Prophets creepy? They knocked them out of the water with the CGI. It's respectful to what they actually look like in the Halo games. and yet it adds upon it in such a it's creepy. It's genuinely unsettling. You know, I got like Squid Game vibes, you know, when those well, I don't know if I want to spoil anything in Squid Games, but you know, those creepy guys near the end that are exposed. So I my goodness, is it creepy. But anyways, guys, that's just my first impressions of the first part of this series. There's 9 episodes. They'll be coming out every Thursday, I think, on Paramount Plus. And you know, I'm not sponsored or anything like that. These are my own thoughts, and I realize not everyone's going to agree with me, especially with the narrative that the show is bad, that I've also been pushing along as well, because I thought it was going to be much worse than this. If I had to give a rating for this first episode, I would give it like a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. You know, it did some really new things. I expect the hype to wear off, and maybe that score would be lower, which is why I'm not giving it like an 8.5. I'm just giving it like an 8 right now. So yeah, you guys, let me know your own thoughts. Probably gonna get shredded for making this video. I don't know, but I'll catch you guys in the next one soon. Peace.